Just yesterday was the official release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker's final trailer that made its debut on ESPN, specifically during Monday Night Football at halftime, by Disney and Lucasfilm, that allowed the fans to understand the overall tone of this movie and exactly how J.J. Abrams plans to end the sequel trilogy and the Skywalker saga itself. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one aspect of Episode 9 that a lot of fans are very curious about is, of course, everything related to the Force itself. We do know that J.J. Abrams is going to explore new Force lore, Jedi lore, Sith lore as well in this film that's going to take the movie in a different direction than ever before than the past two films in the sequel trilogy here. Now, on top of all of this, we have been learning more about this film, and thanks to the trailer, we actually got a lot of hints and or indicators of certain aspects of the film. I wanted to go over the very end of The Rise of Skywalker's final trailer, where it focuses on Rey with her ignited blue lightsaber. Now, keep in mind that this video is also going to spoilers as well later on, I'll warn you guys. But at the very end of the trailer, we do in fact hear the voices of Luke Skywalker and Leia in the background. And this, of course, by the way, this goes into spoilers, this of course connects to the previous leaks that we went over a couple of weeks ago, that there were scenes filmed for Carrie Fisher using, of course, the unused footage from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, etc., in order to do something very special for the fans that's going to take the Force in a different direction. Now, the Force itself, we do know that Episode 9 is going to evolve exactly what the Force is able to do in Episode 9. You know, everything related to Palpatine's plan to use the Force conduit technique is a great example. But I wanted to go over the voices of Luke and Leia in, of course, the final trailer of The Rise of Skywalker, and why it connects to previous leaks that we talked about, that there is going to be a scene in the movie in which Leia is going to pass on and die, while she's actually on a table of some kind, on some kind of deathbed, if you will. And they're going to be using, of course, the medical table footage from The Last Jedi in order to rework that footage into something new for Episode 9. Having Leia as a Force ghost, it sounds very crazy in my opinion, but it also sounds like a very heartwarming moment, and it definitely does connect to the reason why we hear Leia in an echoey fashion at the very end of Episode 9's final trailer. Of course, we have Luke Skywalker saying, you know, the Force will be with you, and then we have Carrie as Leia saying, always. Now, with that being said, we do know that Force Ghosts are going to be a part of The Rise of Skywalker, and having Leia added into the mix is going to be something that's going to come out by a surprise for a lot of fans around the world, that they're going to either agree with or disagree with that, right? Because number one, how would Leia even know how to become a Force Ghost? Well, from the other leaks that we went over is that just before she dies, Luke Skywalker's Force Ghost is going to teach her one last lesson, and that is, of course, how to transfer her consciousness to the netherworld of the Force. Very similar, and this echoes what happened in the Return of the Jedi novelization, where just as Darth Vader / Anakin is dying, you know, by Luke Skywalker himself, you know, on board of the second Death Star, just as he is dying, he begins to hear Obi-Wan Kenobi's voice, and it was that point in time which Kenobi was able to teach him how to transfer himself into a Force Ghost at last minute. So it is possible for a master or somebody more affiliated with the Force itself to teach another to become a Force Ghost right away. And that's exactly what they're going to do in The Rise of Skywalker between Luke and Leia. In the trailer, it does indeed hint towards that, and it does indeed connect to the previous leaks that we talked about for a couple of weeks now. Do I agree with Leia being a Force Ghost? I'm really half and half on it. I really can't imagine it visually speaking. It's going to seem a little weird to me to see Leia as a Force Ghost because, well, at the same exact time, she was never really a Jedi, quote-unquote, like an actual Jedi, but also this is a great way for her to not only pass on, but to also still live, if that makes sense, to still actually be conscious somewhere within the Force, so that she's never really dead. And that's what I think is going to be special about Carrie Fisher as Leia, is that even though that she is going to be killed off in this movie, she will still be able to communicate with Rey and, of course, other Force sensitives around the entire galaxy. And I think that's exactly what they wanted to do for Carrie. I think that if they just killed her off and that was it, you know, I think that would have been a little dark, because she did die in real life after all, years ago. And I think the fact that they're trying to do something so special as this is a good choice. It's just a matter of how it's going to be executed on the big screen, right? How are they going to use footage from The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens in order to do that? Well, it's not too hard as long as it's like a stationary shot, or if it's not going to include a ton of dialogue. Essentially, they're using some deleted scenes to piece together Force Ghost footage of both Luke and Leia as well, and in order to do that, they got to mesh footage together. So it's a very complex job, for Disney and Lucasfilm to do something to that extent. So, anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.